I call this meeting of Tuesday, January 15th of the City of Pharr Beautification Committee to order. May we have roll call, please?
Mari Caballero,
Here?
Richard Carranza,
Here.
Romeo Robles,
Here.
Olivia Ramirez, Frank Santana.
Here.
May I have a motion on the floor to please excuse Ms. Ramirez for being absent today?
Seeing how it's due to illness, I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those opposed? Being that there's no opposition, that motion passes. We're going to move on to item B, which is the invocation. If we could just silence our minds, slow our thoughts down, open up our hearts to receive and praise and thank our Lord at this time. Lord God, we praise and thank you for all the many blessings, graces, and mercies you have bestowed upon this humble group today. We know that without you, nothing is possible. We ask for guidance here today, Father God, that this meeting be fruitful for all your honor and glory, to benefit the citizens of Pharr, our community, and those that come and work here, live and play here. Father, I also ask for travel mercies for all of us after this meeting tonight. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We move on to administrative. Item A, approval of minutes for December 18th, 2018.
Madam Chairman, I move that we accept these minutes as written.
Okay, do I have a second? Motion on the floor?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Carranza seconds the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? All right, motion carries. We move on to item B, status report. And for that, we have Mr. Rick Pedraza, Director of Public Works.
Hello, for the record. Once again, my name is Ricardo Pedraza, Director of Public Works. Board, good evening, first of all. I would like to report that we will be having our workshop today after this meeting. And in regards to that, I would like to have Ray Cano come up here and give you a status report on OCS and other activities.
Good evening, members. My name is Reynaldo Cano. I'm a Public Works Assistant Director. We will be reporting on the OCS. I have a handout here that I would like to.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The handout that I just issued out to you is for the Operation Clean Sweep, the scheduling that we have for 2018 and 2019. Our last cleanup that we had was on January 26th, December 15th, but it was rescheduled due to the holidays, and it was done on the 29th. Unfortunately, we didn't have any volunteers, but what we did do is we cleaned up our own yard, and we waited for residents to show up as far as for any trash or tire disposal. We did collect 138 tires that day, and we also accepted 7,000, almost a little over 7,000 tons of trash. It was about 15,750 pounds, more or less. The OCS that we had was there at our facility, was there on 495, 1015 East Ferguson. Our next OCS will be on January 26th, and that one will be on Jones Box Park at 1201 Rosa Lane. That one will be covering Zone 10. The paper that I issued will break it down by dates and the, I guess, location that it's going to be held and the different zones that we'll be doing. That zone, Zone 10, will be working on East Juan Bailly and on East Dicker. The only reason we can do those are because they have sidewalks. We can't really go into anything that doesn't have a sidewalk to where it would maybe for the public that's going to be out there helping out. At the Jones Box, I'm sorry, for right away, at this time for the cleanup, we have crews out there at Jones Box Park. They were out there trimming some of the trees, and we left the brush that was there, but then we had residents that were also dumping their brush. We had to get code enforcement involved because, again, it was considered like an illegal dumping. The only reason why we had our brush there is because we had to go get another truck to come and pick up the brush. We do have cleanup crews on Juan Bailly, which are the detailers. They do the right-of-ways, anything from 3 to 5 feet from behind the curb and gutter. They'll clean it up with the weed eaters and the smaller mowers. We also have another crew on Ridge Road doing the same, the detailing. On Nolana, we have the shredders out cutting the grass, and on Veracruz, we have the slope mowers. Slope mowers are the ones that have with the extended arm that will clean up or cut the grass on the sides of the ditches that we have. For streets, we did some trimming as far as trees because they were overhanging on the road, which could have, caused an accident or something from somebody that might be driving by a little too close to the edge. We also did. We're going to be doing in that subdivision. This was on Eastmore Road, by the way. There's a subdivision there by the name of Las Arboledos subdivision. We had several concerns or complaints about some of the trash that was in the very, very south side of that subdivision. So what we're going to do is, as a courtesy, we're going to go in there and we're going to clean it up. I did notice that there was a lot of tires, a lot of construction material that was there that's been dumped there. There's a fence that was been, I guess, blown over from time. It was there kind of old. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in there, we're going to clean it up a little bit. And get rid of some of that debris that was there. We also had the sweepers go out last month on a call basis, and we picked up 3 yards of sweeping material. I think if you've noticed, we've also been having the construction for our new city park that we have on the sides here, both on north and south side of City Hall. They have started already with the construction as far as laying down the flex space. At this time, that's all I have to report, unless you all have any questions for me.
Just a quick question on that subdivision you said on Eastmore, Los
Arboledos?
Was that trash on private land or?
It's in that subdivision, but I wouldn't really call it private, since it's not a gated community.
Sure.
A gated community would consider it private. But at this time, it's open, so it's within the easement,
Sure.
But
So what happens is somebody dumps and then somebody else, it's easier for them,
yeah,
let's just
instead of
dump our
going
stuff
to come
there,
over
then it
and
just
dropping it
builds
off
up.
at our facility, what they do is it's there, so they see somebody else dump it there, so then they'll dump, and it's all just that one neighborhood that'll do that.
So it's kind of like what happened at Jones Box. You temporarily left your brush for a bit, and then the
Yes,
local
the
neighborhood
residents
decided,
notice
why
it.
not?
Yeah,
They're gonna
and
come back.
they'll come back and
Okay.
And we have that happen quite a bit. This is we'll go in there, or somebody will see somebody dump that their debris or trash, and then somebody else sees them do that, so it's a chain reaction.
Sure. Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Cano?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. All right.
Okay. This time, I would also like to call up Ms. Crystal Medina, and so she can talk about Keep Pharr Beautiful and any upcoming conferences or any upcoming events with that.
Hello,
Hi there, Crystal.
my name is Crystal Medina, Environmental Coordinator here for the City of Pharr. So there are several things that will be going on in 2019. One of the first things that the recycling center is doing this year, in case you guys hadn't heard, we are doing the tree recycling. So we do have 2 dumpsters located, one at our facility at Pharr Public Works, and then the other one is at the Pepe Salinas facility. We have 2 roll-offs there, and they are for anybody who has any real Christmas trees free of any ornaments or tree stands, and they are able to dispose of them there. The last day is tomorrow. Waste Management will be picking them up to dispose of them at the McAllen compost facility. So I know social media has been a big part of that. IT has actually done a lot of advertisement for that. So that's one of the things that we're doing. That it's coming to an end already, but it is one of the things that we do every year as far as for the residents. Other upcoming conferences that will be coming up will be, I know Buell is going to be having a sustainability fair. I don't have an exact date. I know that Commissioner Bracamontes had said it was going to be sometime in March. So I'm still working with them to see how the Environmental Coalition can help with that. So we were trying to get him either Representative Lucio to come in or the State Senator Lucio to come in and help him out with that. So that's coming up in March 2019. Another conference that will be coming up is the TCEQ conference. That one's held in Austin, and that one is going to be May 14th and 15th. For the most part, we attend that one every year. It's more based on stormwater, it is environmental, so it's always fun to go to that one. So that one's really, really interesting to go to. The one that you guys are probably most interested in would be the Keep Texas Beautiful Conference. That one is scheduled to be June 18th through June 20th, and that one is going to be in Rockwall, Texas. So it's somewhere near Dallas, a little bit further north, I believe, from Dallas. So in that one, there's actually a lot of events that occur at that conference. As you know, you went last year. It's called the GCAA. It's the Government Community Achievement Award. So that's something that we can discuss and see how far can get into that to see if we can possibly achieve one of those awards. And I was looking over all of the items that you would need to get within that standing, and it's very feasible. There's actually a lot of things that we already do. So when we do the workshop, I brought over a video that you guys can see, and all the other cities who have been awarded, Pharr is already doing a lot of those things. So that way we can kind of look at that. And then in September 9th through the 12th, that is the State of Texas Alliance for Recycling. That one is located, it's going to be in San Antonio this year. So that one has a little bit of everything. I think that one kind of goes hand in hand with the Keep Texas Beautiful. You'll see a lot of the same people at both of those. And then the Valley Environmental Coalition, the thing that I had talked to you guys about last time, we are going to have it again, but it's going to be in Brownsville. Okay. Pharr didn't make the cut. Maybe next year we can get it here in Pharr. But it is going to be, it's scheduled for October 18th. And it's going to be located at the Brownsville Event Center. And that one will be from 8 to 3. And that one is no charge, nothing. You guys can attend that. As soon as, we get the ball rolling and we get the sign-up available, I'll let you guys know.
That's what you call the Environmental Summit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Valley Environmental Summit.
Okay.
So those are all of the upcoming events that are, that we are most interested in. And if you guys have any questions, just let me know. I have a lot of information for the Keep Texas Beautiful Award that I was talking to you guys about, so we can go over that and see how much more Pharr can do.
Very good. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Crystal? Ms. Crystal, the acronym for TCQ stands for?
It's Texas and Commission of Environmental Quality.
So TCEQ.
Yes.
I missed
Yes.
that E. Sorry, I was like, it didn't look right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well then, there being no more questions for Crystal, then thank you so much.
Thank
And we
you.
look forward to your information at our
Okay,
workshop.
yeah, I have several.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to call up Ms. Cynthia Puente so she can talk about our tire ordinances and our tire shops and all that we do to make sure that there's no illegal dumping of tires.
Hello, my name is Cynthia Puente. I'm a stormwater inspector for the city of Pharr, under Public Works. So the information that I have provided, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with stormwater at all, but our stormwater division has several things that we do for the residents and for the local businesses. So as far as new commercial buildings, from the planning phase, we do get involved to make sure that they are submitting plans to the city and making sure that they are doing the most that they can to prevent stormwater pollution. In other words, to prevent it in case it were to rain, that they have best management practices, what we call BMPs, in place so that they prevent pollution. We also do, so for those, we do inspections bi-weekly. As soon as the project starts to do any type of earthwork disturbance, they do inspections bi-weekly. And every 7 days, they follow up on those inspections to make sure that those violations get corrected. And these are all BMPs that the construction site tells us that they are going to do. Currently, in December, we had 14 construction sites. We are very active in development right now. We also have 16 construction sites as of January. And in December, another thing that the inspectors do is they do tire shop inspections. So they make sure that the tire shops within the city of Pharr are recycling and providing what we call, the state requires them to have, which we call manifests. So wherever their tires are being recycled, they are to provide the proof that they are recycling them appropriately. So that is something that we check on a quarterly basis. We also do residential. For our tire ordinance, our residents aren't allowed to have any tires exceeding 5 scrap tires within city limits. And if they do, they are more than welcome to recycle them at our facility free of charge. Every month, you are allowed 4 free tires. We do come into the situation where in the past years, a long time ago, the city used to pick them up. So we're highly active in educating them that we no longer do that. If they are in the right-of-way, our stormwater inspectors, we go out there and we tag these tires a certain color scheme with spray paint, and we take pictures, we document everything and make sure, okay, this is where we tag these particular tires, 4 tires. So what we'll do is we'll give them a violation notice and we give them 10 days to recycle that tire at our facility. So for the month of December, the total violations issued were 59. The total amount of tires tagged were 192. 136 were tagged in the OCO zone. That's what we base our the location or the area that we're gonna target. And 56 of those are all complaint-based. So we also keep track of the total amount of tires recycled that are brought to Public Works that are not tagged. Those are just residents by themselves, and that was a total of 173, just for the month of December. In January, these are current numbers. This is just half of the month. We've done 56 violations.
Wow.
122 of those, that's just from the 56, 122 of those were tagged. 109 of them are from this current zone, which is zone 10. 13 of them are complaint-based, and 50 of them have already been recycled. That is not including what the residents have already brought in on their own, not tagged from other zones. That is a total of 187,
Wow.
and those are free of charge. So basically, the tires are one of our biggest issues and problems, especially with light rain. You do have mosquito breeding. So I know the stormwater inspectors are very active in tagging them and making sure that they're being recycled or brought in. There are some residents that choose to keep their tires, and all that we ask is they don't exceed 5 and they're covered to make sure that we prevent the mosquito breeding. There are times when we have a lot of illegal dumping and or they place them in the alley, or they allow their relatives to place them in the back of the alley because they were used to the city picking them up many years ago. So somebody comes over, they illegally dump and say, oh, then the city's gonna pick them up. So you end up with you think, oh, I have 2 tires and now you have 10. So we do issue those violation notices. Those are anytime they're on the right of way or in the alley. And that is my report. Is there any questions you may have?
Wow.
I know that was a lot of information.
No, it's amazing. It really is amazing. And when you put it all on paper, it's huge.
It appears that the tires are reproducing themselves
yes,
because
like,
they're
where are
all
they
over
coming
the place.
Yes.
I haven't bought a new car.
And these are actually the months that we expect the least amount of tires. In the summer months, we've handed out in 1 month up to 250 violations.
Oh my God.
If we
So-
get started early enough, we're able to hit the zone.
So, and I know illegal dumping is a problem, so how do we handle a situation where somebody goes and puts 4 tires behind my fence in my alley?
So in that case, it is the responsibility of the resident to maintain their right-of-way and their alley. So that includes the tires. So unfortunately, we go based off of property line. That's what we have in the ordinance. So they are required to bring them in. That's all that we ask. That if they're 8 tires, what we'll do is it'll be free of charge for this first time, because if you are not aware of the ordinance, we understand. So we try to work with the residents in those cases. Instead of saying, oh, you bring 4 this month and 4 next month, we just give them the violation notice and say, this one time, you're able to bring them into Public Works, and it's free of charge. Thereafter, you're allowed 4 free tires a month, but you need to make sure to keep up the maintenance with your own property. So a lot of the times what'll happen is we'll have reoccurring homes that will say, well, they're not mine, and they have 8 tires. So we'll give them the violation notice. On the second time, we'll give them a second violation notice, which only gives you 3 days to bring them in. That means you are aware of the situation that's occurring, but you failed to prevent it. So sometimes what will happen is they'll say, well, I just want the tag. I just want the violation notice so I can go recycle them. But that's not the point. The point is to make sure to keep maintenance on your alleys. Sometimes we have residents who weren't aware that they had to maintain their half of the alley. So by the time you know it, in 6 feet of grass, you have 10 tires that you didn't even know were there because they're so well hidden. So it's an educational thing for the residents. It's something that keeps us very active with them. So as long as we're assisting them, they're okay with bringing them in. Now, if it's a reoccurring thing, we do make sure to tell them, okay, you need to start making an illegal dumping report with the police department so that we can log it down as one of the areas and target it for illegal dumping, so that we can make sure to make our effort and put some type of camera system out there. And maybe we have seen the reduction in illegal dumping when we encounter situations like that.
So you have used cameras before?
Yes.
Okay. So, because, I mean, there's 4 of us sitting here. When was the last time you changed your tires in your car?
Well, it's been a while, but one summer I had to do 5 cars. So,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Okay, well, I don't have 5 cars.
Yeah,
I'm just
and
wondering,
that was,
are they,
They accumulate, they do. And sometimes it's because the resident just buys used tires because they can't
okay, so
afford
they don't
new
last
tires.
very long.
So they don't last very long, and then they don't know where to take them because they're
That makes
being
sense.
overly charged by the tire shop, so they'll keep them.
Because they'll charge you
yeah,
for
they
disposal.
charge you for
Yes.
There's a disposal.
That's
And it's
why-
much more than
So
what
that's the incentive why they bring them home.
we
What-
charge. $1.50 for a standard tire, and for a semi tire, it's $4. That is very minimal compared to everyone else. We are the least expensive. I think the most we've seen for a semi tire has been $40. So I know there's certain residents who do have a trucking business, or they have their own semi trailer, so they accumulate these tires. So we make sure, if we get a complaint, we make sure to make contact and say, hey, we understand that this is what you do for a living, but you need to make the effort to come and recycle with us. So we do have a lot of residents like that have some type of semi-trailer that are not a business. They're on the road a lot, so they do exchange their tires. So they will come in and they'll pay the $4, and we have been told we are cheaper than everybody else because everybody else, it doesn't go below $10.
And what is the fine for a tire violation? So,
Depending. Usually it's up to the judge, but your violation stems from $50 per tire per day until the violation is removed. That's what the ordinance states. So it can range from $500 to $1,000. It depends on the tire shop as well, and or if it's a resident. So for residents, you don't really exceed the 500 unless the resident has over 250 tires, or you shouldn't have that because your neighbors are usually pretty good about reporting, hey, they have a high amount of tires. For businesses, it will usually be 500 to 1,000 and or 2,000, depending on if you are making the effort to recycle the tires. But with quarterly inspections, we try to minimize the amount of tires. They shouldn't be holding more than 250 scrap tires.
So in essence, as a homeowner, and if I do find tires in my alley, it's my responsibility to take them in.
Right. And that is why we offer the four free tires free of charge. Now, we do have exceptions where they'll own property and we don't go into private property. They will have to make the effort to contact us and or make a police report to make sure that illegal dumping stops.
Yeah.
Because we have properties that are just open, and we have residents that they'll say, well, it's not a business, there's nobody there, so they'll dump on that property, especially tires, because they don't know what to do with them. And then the property owner comes back and they have 20 tires. So if it's on the first try, we'll allow the 20 free of charge, but thereafter, if they don't keep up with maintenance and keeping tabs on their property, then yes, we will charge.
So Cynthia, you really become familiar with
Yes, I've worked it.
with the offenders and the
Yes.
first timers and you get to know you've
Yes.
gotten to know the city as far as you get a good feel for who's a repeat offender and who really didn't know what they were doing or
Right.
okay.
And we also do have tire businesses from other cities, and you get familiar with them as you work, that they have businesses in other cities and they think that they are allowed to store tires because they have too many tires at their business. But that is not allowed, so we do encourage residents to report that. We've had situations in that sense, and we give them a limited amount of time to get those tires into their business. And we already know the addresses to make sure that if they are recycling, if they are trying to recycle with us, that address has to pay all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. Gosh.
And
Does
very
anybody-
amazing
Yes,
also.
it's amazing. Anybody have any questions for Miss Cynthia?
Thank you.
Well, I really appreciate the numbers. It's mind-blowing, and it's all about education,
Yes,
and it's a tough job.
it is.
It's a tough job, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Another thing to note too is if any residents see illegal dumping, make sure they can get information. You can also make a report on it. That way, so we can limit that, because it happens, and sometimes it just like especially in the industrial corridors, we've had to actually put the police department skywatch, and to minimize the dumping of tires for trailer tires, and that's one thing too that.
Wow.
You know, if it was just a passenger car tire or a truck tire, then they're small. They're able to maneuver right. But when we have public works or we have other individuals with the city, sometimes we also get help from Parks and Rec. So it's not just public works, but it's all the departments that work to pick up those tires. We actually have had to have equipment to pick up those semi tires because those tires are heavy, and it's not. For somebody to be swinging those, it can cause issues or back problems
Yeah.
with individuals. So that's one thing that we just want to educate the public, like Cynthia said, is to make sure that if they do see people dumping tires in their backyard or anything, make sure to speak out or say, hey, what's going on, or if it's safe. So on another note, what I wanted to also talk about is I know that we had these things are just like. We're going to talk about changing the name of the board, or actually, and that's one thing I talked to the city clerk, and according to the ordinance, we are able to amend the ordinance. So I'm going to work on aligning ourselves more with what other cities are doing, and so we can keep Pharr Beautiful name. So it would be like the Keep Pharr Beautiful board, so that's what we're going to work on. So I'll be working with the city clerk on that, and Maricruz, so we can get that done and put it in through the commission.
Very
Any
good.
other questions?
Does
Or
anybody have any that's a big answer for us on that.
We've been pondering all this
Yes.
for quite a while, so this is good that.
It does align us with, especially our neighboring cities here in the Rio Grande Valley. And we would be able to, tap into that, to the
Yeah.
resources and whatnot too, that,
I apologize for the delay, but as
Oh,
you
no.
all know that we
Yes.
have a new city manager,
mhm.
and we're also going through some other things that we're working on right now, which will be talked about at the State of the City. So I'm not gonna. It's hush hush right now.
Just gotta keep it tight-lipped.
But at the same time, it's a great time
Yeah.
to be starting what we're gonna be starting, and to be align ourselves with Keep Pharr Beautiful, and focusing on making City of Pharr a beautiful place, a nice place with increased quality of life.
Very good.
So if you
Does
don't have any other
anybody
questions,
Have any questions for Mr. Rick Pedraza?
that'll complete the report.
But we do appreciate everything that you and your
Oh, yes.
staff are doing for us, for the city. So keep that in mind. We are grateful to it. for it.
I really appreciate the staff, because, that's, a lot of times, you have an idea what's going on. As a director, you're up here, right? But then you have your first line of supervisors, you have your first line of people. They're the real reason why everything works, right? So I really do appreciate my staff that work and that have the knowledge, right? So they make me look good. So I try to take care of. That's what I try to do, is take care of them, because they take care of me.
That makes
Mhm.
perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. All right, I guess now it's time for, thank you so much, Mr. Pedraza, Crystal Medina, and Cynthia Puente, and of course, Mr. Reynaldo Cano, for all your great information. It's time to move on to item C, announcements and any comments from our committee members. Does anybody have any comments to add?
Yes.
Announcements? Yes, sir?
Anything on the trolley? Troy?
Okay, so on the trolley, what happened was that we had some scheduling conflicts. We had scheduled, but then we had training that was going on. So the individuals, the clerk was at that training. So it was just a failure miscommunication. I apologize for that. We had scheduled it, but based on the time frame, we couldn't put it out the 72 hours before. So that's why we had to cancel it. But we will get that done.
Our city secretary that's responsible for, our city clerk who's responsible for posting, they were all doing this training and they were not available.
Okay.
And so it was just one of those things that we could not get it posted. It was all gonna happen, but we couldn't get it posted. So we're gonna talk about that in our training, maybe rescheduling and setting up a new time frame for that. Does anybody else have any questions, comments, announcements to make? I know that, just reminder that we've got an OCS 12/29/18. I'm sorry, not 12/29. It is January 26th, Zone 10 at Jones Box. That's an announcement. State of the City is Thursday at 11
11 to 2.
11 to 2 at the Pharr Event Center. And immediately after this meeting, we're going into a planning workshop for our Beautification Committee. Hopefully, we're looking forward to getting a lot of work done, a lot of planning done. And again, I know that this year of 2018 provided several storm events that proved challenging for your department and for the city. And I want to again extend my thanks to all of you for all your efforts that were made you guys didn't skip a beat. It just
It almost felt like we're autopilot, you're
exactly, which it's like a well-oiled machine.
and that's one thing that the whole city came together.
Mhm.
The mission was to help relieve, the effects of the flooding
It
in all of the
was-
city of Pharr, and that's one thing that I guess it's not, I feel, right, it's not I guess, but I feel that it just helped bring all the departments together. Because everybody had to help everybody in order to make sure that we were accommodating the citizens, the residents of Pharr.
Well, again, you know, kudos to your staff. And I know that, without them, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And without you at their helm, so thank you. Anybody have anything else to add?
I just want to mention on the workshop that we're about to have, we're gonna go over the mission, vision, values. Also, we're gonna talk about the current mission and vision for the city, so we can also align ourselves with that. I know Crystal's gonna talk about Keep Pharr Beautiful, their program. So we'll go ahead and we're gonna be working on how do we align ourselves with the city's vision, the mission of the Keep Pharr Beautiful, and then come up with also ideas, concerns. We'll do a SWOT. We'll do a strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats
Okay.
for the committee, and we'll work on all that. We'll write it all out, and then we'll
good.
create some type of report. That way we can have, and if anybody is and the public is interested, we can
Issue that out.
issue that out to them so they can see what we came up with.
Very good. Well, we look forward to it, and I believe, there's nothing more to add. I just want to in going through my notes for 2018, our meeting notes, someone said this at a meeting, maybe one of you will remember. Might have been even you, Mr. Pedraza, but I'll end with this comment that I didn't make, but I wrote it down. So it was my note taking at that particular meeting, but someone said, teamwork makes dreams work or happen, right? So let's proceed on to working together as a team and making those dreams come true, right? So at this time, I'm going to move to item number 3 in our agenda, and that is adjournment. So I need a motion on the floor to adjourn this meeting.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Santana, is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any opposition to adjourning this meeting? Okay, since it seems that everyone is ready to begin this workshop, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.